Eczema is one of the most common skin conditions. It's basically an itchy and red rash on the skin, which can be on the face, on the hands, on the feet, or around the joints. The ongoing itching can be extremely irritating for people who have eczema. So biomedical treatments, they can reduce the symptoms, but generally on the long term, they're not necessarily effective and can even be harmful for the skin. In this video, I will present the perspective of Chinese medicine on eczema and also tell you how we manage this condition with Chinese medicine and provide you with practical advices that you can use at home. There are mainly two types of eczema. We have the wet type of eczema and the dry type of eczema. So in the wet type, there's generally some papules, also exudation, which is an oozing out of liquid in the itchy area. From a Chinese medicine perspective, the wet type of eczema is caused by dampness, which is basically a metabolic waste inside the body. Because of this metabolic waste, the body is trying to get rid of them, so it's trying to expel them through the skin. But because it's very sticky and it creates some stagnation, so locally it's hard to expel and create some local inflammation. So the body is trying to, through the itching, is actually telling us to break the skin to try to let the dampness out of the body. Local corticosteroid drugs can reduce the inflammation, but they generally don't address the internal dampness. So people continue to have this internal dampness and the disease will relapse or even aggravate over time. In Chinese medicine, in addition to using external treatments with herbs and acupuncture, we also use internal treatments with oral herbal medicine. So we'll use, for example, sophora root, philodendron bark, and also poria, which are herbs that can transform and reduce the dampness inside our body. From a lifestyle perspective, you should try to avoid food that are high in sugar, high in gluten, but also limit animal products, especially cheese, beef meats, pork meats, and also shrimps. It's important to exercise as much as possible and regularly, and limit the time sitting. So a few food that can help, it's mainly porridge with mung bean and azuki bean. They can be very helpful to reduce the dampness, especially if you do it regularly. The second type of eczema is the dry type of eczema. So in the dry type of eczema, there's no exudation, but instead the skin is very dry and can be crackled. This is a result of persistent eczema, but can also be the result of using topical corticosteroids, which can dry out and damage the skin. From a Chinese medicine perspective, this is a case of yin and blood deficiency, which can also create heat and wind. So the way we're managing it with Chinese medicine is we generally will use topical herbal creams that will nurture the skin locally, but we also use oral herbal treatments with herbs such as Rehmannia root or Angelica root, which will basically produce some blood and yin in the body. A few things that you should do at home is, so first, try to limit your screen time, have as much sleep as possible, and also limit chronic stress because this can damage the blood in the long term. You should also try to avoid having some food that is too spicy because spices can dry out the blood and fluids in the body. Finally, you can use goji berries or red dates, sesame, also black bean, because these foods will produce yin and blood and give more balance to your body. I am Johan Berling, a clinician, lecturer and researcher in Chinese medicine. Please feel free to like this video if you did and subscribe to our channel for more videos on health, psychology and Chinese medicine.